Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Brand new dash cam video of the pursuit that injured a Warren police officer was just released. We'll tell you why the suspect was on the run to begin with. But first, all eyes are on the radar this afternoon and the skies as we are experiencing some spring rain. Meteorologist Brandon Rue is back with a look at when the wet weather will move on out of our area. That does, of course, top our news at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Evrod Cassidy. Let's take a closer look at the radar now and turn things over to meteorologist Brandon Rue to find out, will this last into the evening commute?
Well, we're going to get a break, but yes, we have more wet weather on the way. So we keep the umbrellas handy, the light jackets as well. Rain-cooled air. We were on our way to near 50 an hour ago, and we've cut those numbers back a little bit with the rain-cooled air. Low, middle 40s out there, and you can see the last couple of hours on radar twisting through the area. Some light to moderate rain, and still Oakland, Macomb counties pivoting through your neighborhood into Livingston County, moving north. And for a couple of hours, we get a little bit of a break, and numbers should hop up a little bit to around 47 degrees. But between 3 and 7 p.m., another wave, another round of wet weather coming at us from this area of low pressure. And you can see the counterclockwise flow around that does grab slightly warmer air. Snow stays to the north, but we are in for a wet evening commute. We've got the threat for severe weather to discuss with you coming up in just a few minutes. It's for later in the week.
All righty, Brennan, thank you. Developing this afternoon, you are looking at some brand new dash cam video of a pursuit that injured a police officer. The officer tried to stop the driver at 9 Mile and Van Dyke. He then took off northbound and crashed at 12 Mile and Shaner. Local 4's Priya Mann joining us live now with a look at why the suspect was on the run to begin with. Priya.
Well, Evrod, that Chrysler town car had been reported stolen from Centerline at its peak. 7 officers were involved in this slow-speed chase that lasted about 10 minutes. Take a look at some dash cam video. Now, that chase started around 9:45 Sunday night at 9 Mile and Van Dyke. The driver wouldn't stop, blowing past stop sign, red lights, going through businesses and residential areas. After about 10 minutes, he hit a white Jeep Wrangler at 12 Mile and Shaner. Now, the driver of that vehicle, a woman in that Jeep Wrangler, was not seriously injured. The car wasn't totaled, and she refused medical treatment. The suspect did resist arrest. He would not get out of that vehicle. Cops had to pull him from that Chrysler town car. Commissioner Dwyer has a message for people who think they can run from the law.
It's not worth for them to have a pursuit and go through what this particular suspect went through last night. I mean, he's facing some heavy charges. If he would have pulled over, he would have been facing one charge, and that would have been the auto theft. You know, give it up. It's not worth yourself being seriously injured or killed, or a police officer being seriously injured, or some victim being seriously injured or killed. But you know, I can say that, but in most cases, people won't listen.
Now, sadly, a Warren police officer was injured trying to pull that driver out of the vehicle. That suspect was resisting arrest. That Warren police officer needed 9 staples in his head. Commissioner Dwyer says he will be okay, but an officer injured, another innocent driver injured because this suspect would not stop. That man will be arraigned later today, and we will, of course, be there. Reporting live from Warren Police Station, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All righty, Priya, thank you for the update there and a look at that video. We have new information this afternoon after the deadly shooting from over the weekend at a synagogue near San Diego. On Saturday at Shabbat of Poway, police say a 19-year-old college student shot and killed a woman after she stepped between the shooter and the synagogue's rabbi. 3 others were injured, and survivors are now talking about the incident.
Go to pray, and then we're supposed to feel safe. I don't even have any words for it. It was terrifying, scary.
You can only imagine. In the meantime, a woman who was killed in the California synagogue shooting Saturday is now being called a hero who gave her life to save others. Miguel Almaguer has more on her and the man who police have in custody as the shooter.
Overnight, a vigil to honor the victims of Saturday's shooting at the Shabbat of Poway Synagogue. Gunshots ringing out on the last day of Passover.
Somebody was screaming, you know, hide yourself, shooting, shooting, shooting. So we all laid on the floor and started crawling towards the exits.
60-year-old Lori Gilbert Kay was shot and killed inside the temple when she stepped in front of the gunman wielding a semi-automatic rifle.
Lori took 3 shots to her body. Those 3 bullets could have been 3 other people.
Passover is one of the holiest days of the Jewish faith. Some 100 people were inside, including many children.
I was scared. It felt like the movies, like you have to hide so we won't get shot and stuff.
The alleged shooter, 19-year-old John Ernest, was taken into custody Saturday after he called 911 to report himself to police. Ernest, an honor roll student and a musician, has no prior record and was arrested and booked on 1 count of first-degree murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. A teenager turning a day of solace into a day of horror. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
Thank you, Miguel. In the meantime, Sri Lanka's capital was slowly settling back into a sense of normalcy today. Traffic returned to the roads that had been deserted after that deadly suicide attack by Islamist militants. On Easter Sunday, a series of bombings in churches and hotels killed more than 350 people. Residents are now starting to venture out of their homes, but as you can imagine, they're still pretty uneasy.
The mood is now a bit okay after so many days. Army and the police force are doing their best to keep the country in peace. So now it's okay, it's coming back to normal, but still we have some fear. Still we are in a little bit trouble.
Today, Sri Lanka's government has issued a ban on all face coverings, including burqas. They're calling them a security risk and say that the ban will help security forces identify people responsible in that Easter attack. And now to the latest controversy in Washington over the Mueller report. Sarah Sanders spoke out this morning on the Mueller investigation, saying the president did not intervene and allowed his team to cooperate and be fully transparent with investigators.
We're going to continue to do that, but at the same time, you have to look at the outrageous behavior, particularly of the House Democrats, who are asking for things they know they can't have, that they know they have no legal authority to have.
In the meantime, the Attorney General is threatening to be a no-show for testimony this week and could face a subpoena.
I'm committed to ensuring
Attorney General William Barr is set to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee Wednesday, and that is still on. But his appearance before the House Judiciary Committee Thursday might not happen. Democrats want to go behind closed doors to ask questions about what was blacked out of the Mueller report on Russian election interference, lengthen questioning to 30 minutes per lawmaker, and allow lawyers to grill Mr. Barr. A Justice spokesperson says only lawmakers should. 321. A Justice spokesperson says only lawmakers should. Republicans call Democrats' demands abusive and illogical.
The best person we can hear from is Attorney General Barr to find out why, one, his summary or Cliff Notes version was so different from the facts, and 2, why won't he just release the unredacted report?
The Judiciary Chair told CNN if Barr doesn't show up, he'll issue a subpoena for the Attorney General and use whatever means necessary to enforce it. Democrats also want to hear from Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Republicans are fed up.
I'm not going to relitigate it. I don't know how clear I can be, Margaret. It's over for me.
Mueller left it to Congress to determine if President Trump obstructed justice. The Attorney General decided to drop it, but now might not return to Capitol Hill to explain why. And remember, Democrats decided not to read the latest version of the report Barr provided. With less information left out, they want the whole thing. So this afternoon, we are hearing more reactions today surrounding the life and legacy of Judge Damon Keith. As you know, Judge Keith passed away yesterday at the age of 96. His influence was the longest-serving black judge in the country, ruling in several high-profile cases, including those involving Presidents Richard Nixon and George W. Bush. Funeral information and arrangements have not been released just yet. All right, still to come. Today, we are hearing from the CEO of Boeing. I'll tell you what he's saying about the ongoing problem with the company's 737 MAX jetliners. But first, a crane collapses onto a busy street, killing 4 people. We'll show you the new video that details the moment it breaks apart before crashing onto several cars.
I rushed to the hospital in Royal Oaks after the nurse called and said our son was in critical care. I called Lee right away.
Which hospital? I'll be right there.
Lee did come and later brought Brian this check for $500,000.
I'll be right there.
Truck Month is back with spring's biggest savings on your next F-150 at Jack Demmer Ford in Wayne. For a limited time, hit the highway in the rough and ready 2019 Ford F-150 Super Crew XLT 4x4 for as little as $149 a month. And this just in, we need your trade-in. All makes, models, and years, top dollar will be paid, but you have to hurry in to Jack Demmer Ford on Michigan Avenue east of I-275, only 15 minutes from everywhere.
On the day your child was born, you vowed to give them the very best. Since then, you've devoted yourself to fulfill that promise. At Chippewa Valley Schools, we're as committed to your child as you are. From safe and supportive all-day kindergarten to dedicated 9th grade centers on every high school campus. No other district offers the same award-winning programs and high-tech classrooms that give your children the tools they need to succeed. Isn't it time to give them the education they deserve? Isn't it time to choose Chippewa Valley Schools?
What's in a vinyl window frame? Not much. Vinyl frames bend, warp, and won't last 5 years. Magic Windows have multiple layers of heavy-duty fiberglass. You know, the stuff they use to build boats, bridges, that stuff. Right now, get a house full of windows for as low as $129 a month and no interest for 2 years. Call today at 888-77-MAGIC.
I was at home asleep when I got the call. My wife Amy was in an accident in Southfield and she's being rushed to the ER. I called Lee.
Which hospital? I'll be right there.
Lee settled our case and personally brought Amy this check for $700,000.
I'll be right there.
I'm a big believer in the power of words. One night at a book night in Royal Oak, I told them that my favorite word was sprocket. And a little kid said he liked the word rocket. And a little girl said that rhymes with my locket. Well, within 90 seconds, we came up with, I had a sprocket in my pocket. I locked it in a locket. I tightened it with a socket. I sent it off in a rocket. A couple of years later, I'm walking through a mall, and a guy walks up to me. He's now a teenager. And he repeats the entire rhyme to me. He remembered it. That's the power of words.
Welcome back, everybody. Take a close look at the upper right portion of your screen. This is a very tragic moment in Seattle when this crane crashes into several cars below, killing 4 people. The dashcam video catches the moment that tower or crane falls from the roof of a building and starts to break apart. Pieces of the crane fell onto the several cars below. The Seattle Fire Department said 1 woman and 3 men were killed. The state's Department of Labor is now investigating how this crane collapsed in the first place. The chief executive officer of Boeing appeared at the company's annual shareholders meeting this morning to make his first comments since 2 tragic crashes of Boeing 737 MAX jetliners. Dennis Mueller stressed Boeing's dedication to safety, quality, and integration as it moves forward from the crashes of planes in Indonesia and Ethiopia that resulted in the deaths of 346 people. He said Boeing has taken steps now to improve the anti-stall system, which is suspected in those crashes. The FAA has ordered that those planes be grounded. The shareholders meeting, though, comes as Southwest Airlines said Boeing had deactivated a safety alert on all MAX aircraft that would tell pilots of a sensor that was feeding faulty data about the pitch of the plane's nose. Southwest has a fleet of 34 of the Boeing 737 MAX airliners. Boeing says all MAX planes returning to service will have the alert system as standard equipment. Some critics say Boeing needs to have pilots train with a simulator, not just on a computer. Boeing's CEO today said the company is addressing those concerns.
We are working on a standard training package that's computer-based training for everyone, and then where it makes sense, augmentation, additional education available with simulator training. So all of those tools are available to us. And again, we'll be working with both the FAA and the airlines, including daily conversations with Southwest on the plan forward.
Now, among the matters shareholders approved today was the nomination of former American United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley to the board of Boeing. In Virginia now, 6 men make it out alive after being trapped for 2 days in a cave. The group went exploring in what's known as Cyclops Cave on Friday, and one of the 6 men was able to make his way out on Sunday morning and go and get help. Rescue crews navigated narrow spaces and muddy conditions to free the remaining cavers. The men were reportedly exhausted and experiencing mild hypothermia. One man actually had to be airlifted to a local hospital to get treated. It's unclear if the explorers had permission to be on that property. All right, still to come here on Local 4 News at noon. A massive cyclone turns deadly in southern Africa. We'll tell you why the area's upcoming forecast is putting thousands of people at risk. Brandon?
Cyclone, typhoon, hurricane, all the same thing, different ocean basins. We've got wet weather moving back into lower Michigan as we're in the 40s. We'll track this stuff and the rest of your week, your 7-day next. Cinco de Mayo is this weekend, and we're celebrating early with a local family secret recipe. For Tasty Tuesday, we're trying puffy tacos at 6 a.m.
Diamonds, the jewelry exchange, has certified half carat for $690, 1 carat $1790, 2 carat $5,900. Certified lab grown at over 50% off wholesale wrap, plus thousands of GIA diamonds at the guaranteed lowest price. By Factory Direct, the Jewelry Exchange, Livonia.
DTE Energy's natural gas is a lot more than just clean, safe, reliable energy. Because it does more than heat pans. It delivers delight. It warms hands and hearts. It drives business and ignites imaginations. DTE works 24/7 to keep gas safe and reliable because it's more than just a fuel. It's a part of your life. DTE Energy.
Never quitting takes commitment, a relentless will to push forward, to harness technology and pioneer new solutions. At Beaumont, it means catching cancer at its very first sign, or implementing ways to prevent a heart attack, and using minimally invasive surgeries for quicker recoveries. This is what not quitting looks like. Beaumont, there's no quit in us because there's no quit in you. Schedule your annual mammogram at Beaumont today.
Hummingbirds fly through the air with the greatest of ease, and they're in your neighborhood right now. At Wild Birds Unlimited, we can show you how to attract hummingbirds and other wild birds to your backyard by offering the right food and the right bird feeder. We'll even show you how to do it with no mess and no critters. Stop by our store to learn more about attracting the birds in your backyard. Wild Birds Unlimited. We bring people and nature together.
At Randazzo, it's more than just heating and cooling. Over 30 years of building a family-owned company gives us a sense of pride in what we do. More importantly, who we're doing it for. You, our customers. Get our complete home comfort package, a 96% efficient furnace, air conditioning, Wi-Fi thermostat, humidifier, and air cleaner. Installed with payments as low as $59 a month and up to $2,200 cash back.
Go with the name you know, Randazzo,
Hurry in now to the Galling Fiat 124 Spider convertible spring sale, featuring all 2018 Fiat 124 Spiders at 20% below MSRP with a factory 4-year, 50,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty during the spring sales event at Galling Fiat.
Welcome back. Portions of the Southeast African nation of Mozambique are reeling from the effects of the second major cyclone to hit the country in just 6 weeks. Cyclone Kenneth came ashore from the Indian Ocean last Thursday, and right now the death toll stands at 38. More than 200,000 are at risk from flooding, and even heavier rains are forecast for the days ahead. More than 600 people died when Cyclone Idai hit Mozambique just last month. So you take a look at the weather over there, and then you look outside at our rain, and not so bad.
Right. Always good to put things into perspective, but I know some of you are dealing with some flooded crawl spaces and basements from the last couple of weeks, and this isn't going to help. But service with a smile, that always helps, doesn't it? All right, we have 40s out there all over the place. Feels a little bit cooler than that on the east side, Mount Clemens, Port Huron, downtown Detroit. Luna Pier, we're all feeling a little cooler with the winds coming off of the lakes. East winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, fending off and steering away some of the rain as those east-southeast winds sort of pivot this wet weather from southwest to northeast. So, yeah, still wet in parts of northern Wayne, the Grosse Pointe, St. Clair Shores into Macomb County. You can see central Oakland County here along M59, a little heavier there, and it's pivoting pivoting north up into Lapeer counties, where Lapeer into St. Clair, Genesee counties. A little bit heavier rain for maybe 20 minutes or so. We'll get a little bit of a break for the next couple of hours, but between 3 and 7 p.m., more showers moving in, and that should keep us in the 40s, with very few hitting 50 degrees. We were on our way earlier, and these rain showers obviously cooled us off. Overnight, down to 41. We go from drizzle at 7, 8 o'clock to drier conditions at 9 p.m. And then on Wednesday, things start to warm up and a little unstable here. End of April, early May, we get 70s and winds and instability, and things can get a little dicey, and that'll be for Wednesday, maybe part of Thursday. Here's a look right now, though. You can see our north zone is getting wet. We have a little bit of a break moving in here for a couple of hours, and then whoosh, more wet weather will move as this area of low pressure scoots our way. Later in the week, again, we are still tracking more moisture piling up in parts of the southwestern United States. So most of tomorrow, I think, will be on the dry side. Here's 3:30 p.m. on our computer model, and moderate showers moving through for several hours. So this will have an impact on the evening commute today. After school practices, events may be in jeopardy.